Hey everyone, welcome to this Mass Effect Revolution Session 10 vlog. And yeah, Mikhail, what did you think?
Okay, Vito's secretly evil and a monster, and he's like such a terrible person, and like he's like so full of B, and also, Gimmick is really adorable, but god damn it, learn some manners. And Nathan is gonna be fucked up at the end of this campaign. He will be fucked up. There you go. I rushed it.
Pretty decent synopsis. Do you have a question or anything that you think you want to know?
Questions.
Like there is
Well,
any...
besides the obvious ones, I guess my question is, if this does not turn out to be an act of terrorism, I wonder how. I wonder how evil Nathan's going to get. Honestly, that's my big thing. I feel like Nathan, if this turned out to be an accident, what happened to the sun and the Palaven, then Nathan's going to probably become evil. At least I maybe it depends.
You want me to answer that question?
Yeah, I'm here.
So Nathan can look at this in many different ways. Like if the Angara caused it when they arrived via some sort of accidental eruption of their solid state drive or some kind of accidental, didn't mean to do it, we apologize, we're immensely sorry. Nathan can probably not forgive them, but be like, look, you're going to have to go to jail because you killed trillions of people. It's manslaughter, sure, but you all did it, so here's a prison cell for you to rot. But if it was something done on purpose, that's something entirely different. If they knew that they were going to come here and blow up this star when they arrived, and they did it anyway, that's something that he can't abide by. And if they won't go willingly, he will do what he did to that poor fellow and Arun and put a double tap, just bang bang. They're not going anywhere. But if it was the Ket, and they're like, look, the Ket are evil. They do this to try and segregate people and try and make things difficult to live and eventually break everything down. That also will give him a different target, which will make it very easy for him to get over it. So not get over it, but at least not go after the Angara. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Because I didn't finish playing Andromeda because it's super long. But it's not that long, but is Rentec tied to a planet? Like the technology that allows you to change the weather and such, or things like that, is tied to planet, or is something that you can take to another place and do things with it? Well, as far as I know, it's built into the planet. Like the planet is built around
the terraforming arcs where was it? No, vaults. The terraforming vaults were built in the planet, and I mean it's a little spoilery, but I guess I can say that technically it's hinted that whatever created the remnant also created the planets themselves.
Oh, yeah. It's like they build a vault and then they go, here's a planet to go along with it. So okay, they might be able to reverse engineer some sort of methodology to change, things, or maybe they're just like, look, let's just shoot a nuke into the sun and that'll set off a chain reaction which will set it go supernova. But that's always. I was wondering if that was an option, maybe they came and they used this technology that they acquire in this other planet. Because what I'm thinking right now is that maybe why would they want to escape from their planet? Because they made the aliens in the Milky Way made the Andromeda initiative to escape from the Reapers, right?
No, they made it to explore. It was they left during Mass Effect 2, so the whole Reaper thing wasn't out yet.
Well, it's highly hinted at that the person behind the initiative knew the Reapers were coming, and they were like, we have to send people out so that way they can survive. But the actual
the people that joined for the initiative in itself, joined to explore a new galaxy, joined to get a new start, that kind of stuff. So
So I
Yeah.
was thinking that maybe for them it was something similar. Maybe the cat started to invade their galaxy, and they had to make this initiative to escape from and look for another place to escape from them and not
Or
be.
look for a new, more livable planets than
Yeah. So
had in the
they
alien cluster.
may have done this, but they were followed or something like that. I don't know, but there was something that popped out in my mind, and I wanted to let it out. I have another question. I don't know if someone wants to go first.
No, go ahead.
So we didn't get to explore the whole map. Are we going to have a chance next session, or we are done with the map?
I kind of would like to move forward.
Okay.
But if you really want to go back to the city, you can, but I'd like to move forward. So
Yeah. It's just like I'm one of those players that need to explore every nook and cranny of the place. So I wanted to know if did we miss anything that was kind of interesting or important in this session?
that's a good question. Yeah. So I there were just things that I was planning on just honestly just ad-libbing or just doing on the spot what do you call it?
Yeah, improvise.
Improvise. Yeah, on the spot improvisation. I just said, okay, here are some buildings that I think would be interesting, and depending on which ones the players go into, I'm just going to react to what they do. So I didn't have anything specific planned for any of the buildings necessarily. The biggest thing that you missed was just your choice between, going to the broadcast studio versus going to save Din Korlak. So the broadcast studio would have been probably a whole different map entirely, and it would have been all indoors, whereas this was completely outdoors. And so there would have been, different threats, and you would not have met Din Korlak. You probably would have still run into Augustus Pix, but he would have been completely different, as in like his motivations of why he's in the broadcast studio would have been completely different. And meeting Kassaj Deshen, your new friend, would have played differently as well. You probably would have met Kassaj Deshen sooner in the episode if you had gone to the broadcast studio, because you would have probably noticed him sneaking around, and he probably would have been more involved in the fights that you would have gotten into. But in this version, he was more of more observing you ever since you arrived in the city.
Oh.
Yeah. He's been watching you ever since you started wandering around the city. He's been watching you. Not that your characters know that, but
okay.
So yeah, I have a singular theory and a singular question. The theory is, I entirely believe that the Ket are here along with the Angara because they're kind of just hand in hand. That's just sort of how things work. And I think that the Ket have come here after following the Angara, because we know that they control multiple galaxies in Andromeda. That the Archon mentions as much, that he's not the top tier bad guy. There are more of them that are higher up that have they control entire planets and blah blah blah. But we also know that they have to keep finding new places to anoint or ascend people. So they see these, Angara set up this last-ditch effort to leave the Andromeda galaxy and find somewhere to live. And they're like, hey, if we follow them, maybe we can find new people and a lot more people who can, do things that we can't, blah, blah, blah. So the Angara arrive here along with the Ket, and they get here, but they don't do anything. Like, they just observe for a while. Both of them just observe for a while. And then the Ket go, okay, we can blow up this one this like star here, which will cause their banks to go haywire because all of their accounting members are now locked off in the rest of the galaxy, and that'll start to thin out their herd. And the Turians were the most militaristic race out there. They had the biggest fleet and the most troops and all that. So taking them out and taking out the entire fleet also helped. So in the Ket were taking out two birds with one stone. They were taking out the strongest military force in the Milky Way galaxy and crippling the banks by separating the Aruni system from the rest of the galaxy. So what I think is that the Angara have finally decided to reveal themselves because they realize that if they don't get involved now, the exact same thing that happened to their system, the Andromeda galaxy, will happen to the Milky Way. And my question is, oh Christ,
How much of that is true?
well,
I'm not going to answer that, but go ahead.
that's a good question, but I don't think you'll answer it.
I'm not going to answer that.
No. You can smirk and just smirk at the camera. That'll do. I guess my question is what do you guys want it to be that? Do you guys want it to be that the Angara are trying to be good people and they, are finally deciding to get involved because they have to now? They don't have a choice.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like to imagine that the Angara are like working with us instead of against us, because I guess it would feel like fighting your own children to be fighting Angara, because I mean it's kind of what it felt like fighting Kesh and Drak. We were like, no. Why do you have to fight them? So yeah, having to fight the Angara would be really hard. But yeah, I mean, one of our first theories about what happened on the train was the Ket. So, and the disappearances too. So, the disappearances too, because it's, reminiscent of the Ket, kidnapping people from colonies. So, yeah, I'm definitely thinking the Ket have something to do with this. Something to.
Oh wait, don't they call like the procedure they make like enlightenment or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's exaltation or something like
Yes,
that. That's what it is in French, anyway.
It's exaltation. Yeah, 100%.
Would it be considered to be enlightened? There is a huge light in front, like in the sky.
Well, I think they do that for two separate reasons, which I've already said, which is taking out the strongest military force in the galaxy, and crippling the governments and the banks of the rest of the galaxy. That's the reason I think they did it.
I mean, if we're talking about the Ket, though, technically Vito is safe from exaltation, because if I remember well from the information you find on Ket ships, is that the Ket just went. The Ket just looked at the Solarians and were like, they age way too fast. That's not convenient, and they refused to exalt them. So
they were like, they were like, we have to find a way. Actually, no, you would be perfect for exaltation because you have a twice as long lifespan. You are exactly what they're looking for.
No. Oh, shoot. Okay, so Vito himself is in danger, and the Solarian homeworld is not. That's good.
They would experiment on the Solarians to figure out a way to make their lifespans longer. They've already done that themselves with you, so they don't need to do that. They can just use you as a baseline.
Yikes. Okay.
It's almost like that side thing is connected to the main plot somehow.
Oh
no. We figured it out. Oh, but I'm honestly rewatching session 1, and just like hearing Jalon talking about, science is making great progress in making Solarian lives longer, and how did I not see that coming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a reason I said that.
Every little detail. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to see Augie, and oh man, I can't wait until people figure out how how exactly Nathan knows or recognizes Augie.
That's going to be spicy. Mikhail's going to.
That's gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
Well, another thing is that your all of your theories like take into account that the universe, that the universe, no, the galaxy was destroyed by them. But the other option is that somehow they managed to cut all communications, and like maybe it was a massive how is it called? Because sometimes suns emit like an energy that blasts to it's like a cannon. I don't remember the name, but it fries all computing devices and such.
Oh, EMPs.
An EMP?
Yeah, that's the name. So maybe they managed to use the power of the sun to burn everything around it, like to make it turn into primitive state. So that's why no one can reach that universe. That doesn't mean that it's destroyed or and such.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know.
I have been thinking about that since the start because I was like, no, that's too big of a thing. That can't happen. And what started by denial ended up being an actual theory about it's possibly something like an EMT that destroyed all contact with Trivia. But
I mean, the
Paladin and the planets of Trivia might still be fine.
I mean, the perfect example of that is if you actually listen to the Archon's audio logs on his ship. He mentions that the Turians are perfect for enlightenment, for exaltation, because they've already got the military doctrine, they've already got the exoskeleton, and they're based like you just have to you have to figure out a way to transform them. And it's been several months since we've actually heard from Trebia.
Oh,
so for all we know, they could already be in the process of figuring out how to exalt the Turians and turn them against everyone else in the galaxy. Because as I've mentioned, they are the strongest military force in the Milky Way. So, instead of taking it out, they're like, we'll turn it on everybody else in the galaxy because, the Asari are really strong, the humans are really strong, the Solarians are really strong. But when you're fighting people you used to know, that kind of makes things a lot more difficult. So, it's very much like fighting the Reapers again. They're turning the people from inside out. They're turning these people that everyone knew and loved and respected in the Turians mostly, and turning them against everybody else. Yeah, that's right. That's another theory that I think is actually quite possible, knowing Hark's twisted brain. So, he's just like, yeah, I agree with that.
So, when I was talking about the second season, this campaign, I was very careful about how what I did and did not tell people. So one of the things I specifically said was like, oh, and before anyone wonders, no, we're not going to Andromeda, because it's going to take X number of years for even the fastest ship to get to Andromeda. So I was like, it's all going to be in the Red Galaxy. We're not galaxy jumping. We're staying in the Red Galaxy.
Yeah, I remember.
And I specifically was like, but that doesn't mean the Angarans can't come here. So
you did also mention that people could have made an Angaran character. So we could have already met the Angara by now. We could have met the Angara by session 1.
Yes.
So
I really, really wanted somebody to roll an Angara. And had somebody rolled an Angara, the plot would have been very different. The narrative would have been very different because you would have gotten a lot more information ahead of time, like as early as session 1. But because nobody chose an Angara, I had to add an NPC of an Angara. But that NPC I can't introduce until pretty much the middle of the campaign. So you're just now meeting Kasaj, and I'm sure you guys will probably learn a few things from him, but you're learning things 11 sessions later than you would have if somebody had rolled an Angaran. So, and I'm not saying that I'm not at all implying that that any of your characters are not good. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, who you decide to pitch or bring to the campaign vastly can change the plot itself or the narrative itself.
I mean, it's a super like middle point peak of excitement because all of a sudden, instead of having the Angara meet us from session 1, we meet them at session 10, and it's a big reveal. And we're here in our rune, and we're stuck here with no way out until they fix the relay. And when they fix the relay, we have to go to Trebia. And in that time, we'll have loads of time to learn about the Angara. Hell, we could probably, I imagine there's more than one of them on Irune, considering. So maybe,
I mean, he's
Also-
trying to find his Pathfinder.
Yeah.
He said he's looking for his Pathfinder. Yes.
Also,
I wonder
the real
he-
question,
Oh, I wonder who he may be.
Jal. I'm calling it. It's Jal.
No, whatever. We don't know.
It's either Jal or it's like the
Sefa?
most guy.
Yeah,
Mostly Sefa,
but the
yeah.
Mosha is older. I mean,
Yeah.
the Moshai Sefa would probably be kind of director of the initiative or something like that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Tan, but less mean.
Actually, a racist. That's racist.
Tan, but less space racist.
Yeah. Jal, like
Would
one.
you have like a twin brother that it's in a cryo chamber that gets like it gets broken when they land, and
Yeah, the Pathfinder has a twin brother.
yeah, maybe something like that happened the other way around this time.
We don't know. Different universes.
I mean, the one question I think we all need to ask about our good old Angaran friend now that he exists is, and this is the most important question, I'm surprised no one's asked it yet, is he romanceable?
Well,
Are you asking me?
Yep.
Oh, 100% yes.
Ooh.
Absolutely, 100% yes.
You just see me just go, yeah.
Yeah, it went from, oh no, David, to there's Augie,
Augustus,
an Angara,
cat.
or a big buff Turian.
Just his brain. Oh no. What?
oh, yeah, about that. Was Nathan kind of in a better mood because Gimmick wasn't with them?
What?
Oh, because you think that.
Oh no. Nathan knows that you're in that body.
Oh.
Like he knows that. So.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought that you didn't know.
Oh yeah, Nathan knows that you're in that body, which is why he said gimmick, not indie.
Ah, okay.
So
Oh, because he doesn't know that
he doesn't
I
know that
see.
everyone else is hiding it from Koala.
they did.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Koalan. Okay.
Yeah,
I
Nathan's
missed that
just Like,
then.
Nathan's just like, I don't know, so it's gimmick in a sorry body, blah, whatever. So like he doesn't know what Koala would say about it. He's just like, meh, whatever.
Oh, because I was also calling indie Gimmick, and I don't know if every time Dia said Gimmick, he was referring as me as
Indian game.
him, yeah.
Yeah.
But
'Cause, you know,
I don't know if would Koalan pick up on that, and Nathan being like, "Oh, Gimmick."
Well, I think that a lot of the reason why Nathan isn't wasn't like lashing out at you is because he knows that it won't do any good anymore. Like he lashed out at you the first time because you were there and you were quite stupid in your phrasing of words, to be quite
yeah.
honest. Like if you were somewhat smarter about that, he wouldn't have attacked you. Like,
Well,
no.
you were like super stressed, and every time you cooked, you seemed happy. So he was like, "Oh, maybe you can go cook, and I could tell you then."
It really is that Gimmick understands. It's just that
The social understanding is there. Social, the social awareness is not.
Yeah.
He's not aware that saying that to Nathan in that exact moment in time would probably be a bad idea.
But there was another question I thought that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's
but
hard
I
to-
remember. I have a question for Vito
yes.
because there were a couple of actions and things that Vito did that were more Solarian than human this time. So is him like consciously trying to be more Solarian now that he knows that he is part human
Yes.
too? Really?
Yes. The
Oh,
answer
okay.
is yes.
Well,
That's cool.
No, I'm Salarian. It doesn't have like a personality conflict.
Yeah, it literally is what happened to him. He had a moment to think, and he really, really wants to prove to himself and to people around him that he's not just half human. He's a Solarian. Like, I've always been a Solarian. Look at me. So, but there's also the fact that he's starting to view information as something else, maybe. Especially since he had time to think about what kind of answer his mother gave him.
Hmm.
So,
I remember the other question.
like, as long as I know that information, but I don't divulge it, who cares? I know that, but it's not like anyone knows I know. Does that make sense? I mean, about the diary thing. So, and that's how he feels about knowing where the DNA comes from. That's
Oh, you know?
no, not at the moment, but he
Yeah.
will most likely ask Shias.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to ask Hark,
As
is
shy as
there
I
a
can.
chance for Vito to know? Like, or it's already like completely blocked and he won't be able to find out who donated the DNA?
Is there a chance for V to know the identity of the
The
DNA?
donor, yeah.
I think there's always a chance.
Okay.
I think there's always a chance. The question is, whether or not Vito, would ever think to infringe on someone's privacy. I don't know if he would ever do that.
information is information.
Well,
That's what Vito thinks.
Salarians are curious, so
They are curious.
I mean,
It's in their nature.
yeah.
What are we gonna ask?
There's only one real reason that I would consider contacting Shias now off of the clock is that I want to know if that cure is getting anywhere near being finished. So, that'd be nice. Thank you.
Is that because we have an Angara on board now?
I mean, to be honest with you, if Nathan had ended up with David, he would have had to get cured anyway because, human. So.
Oh, the other question was
now that it's back on the, just now that it's back on the table, just
Yeah.
So, how's that cure going? Might have some plans tomorrow. So
Yep. Might have to belay some plans I have here. If you could get that cure going pretty quickly, I would be very appreciative. And there's like a shout of some Angara in the background, like, "Hey!" And Nathan's like, "I'll be back." Hang up.
are you gonna have that gratuitous naked scene now? The one from when Liam and
the Jal romance.
well, that the Jal romance too, but when Liam and Jal are just trying each other's armor.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get a completely naked Angara on board? I hope so. Maybe Vito doesn't, but well, technically he does, but more on a scientific level.
He's like, "I want to study your biology."
Yeah.
Angara's just like, "Hang on."
First contact. It's probably not first contact, but it is for him. I mean, he feels. Yeah, that's one thing that I can touch upon is that he, Vito himself, has never lived through any first contact. The humans have, humans of Nathan's age, for example, have seen the Reapers, technically. First contact with the Collectors / Reapers / whatever else. They've also technically seen the Drell. Maybe not of, wait, was it the Drell?
No, it was the Turians
Yeah.
from the First Contact War.
Yeah, no, I know, but the Drells came in 20 years ago, and the humans 30 years ago. So yeah, they saw the Drell join the galactic civilization. They saw the Raloi join the galactic civilization. Vito didn't see any of that because he's too young. So that's his first contact situation, and he's obviously he has all the reason in the world to be happy about that.
So what you're telling me is that Sangara has popped your cherry.
I guess. In a
The
way.
silence, that silence was just insane. I love that so much. Just no comment.
Pop the first contact cherry.
Oh. Okay.
Koalin's parents.
Oh,
They were
they're so
nice
Italian,
people.
so good.
They were great people. Oh, I see they love him very much. So they're
Like if you've ever watched Daredevil season 3, Foggy's parents, they remind me a lot of Foggy's parents because Foggy's parents run a deli too. So they've got that very similar thing. Like his mom is always trying to have him trying to tell him have kids now, just have some kids, goddammit. And she's like telling his girlfriend, you can always freeze your eggs. There's no such thing as too late. And I'm just like, oh, that's a little bit low. Damn. But yeah, like
Yeah.
that reminds me of.
And speaking of girlfriends, Koalin's diary.
yeah.
Sarah?
He had
Was it?
yeah.
It's a really cool
Crush.
story.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like he had to choose between the woman that he felt like he loved and would love for the rest of his life and his code, and he picked the code, which
You
is
pick the code.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
there's
You can tell in
having kids. It's
you can tell in the diary though that it was a very hard decision.
Yeah. But I wonder if it's going to come back at any point, or if Vito is going to mention it or ask anything, or I don't know.
Vito's going to look into this Sarah person and try to figure out who she is. Just because.
I mean,
Just
maybe.
Shia.
Depends. Yeah, I got a couple of people I'd like you to check. But yeah, I don't know if Vito's going to mention anything he's read.
Okay.
It's sure that if some of the things he's learned become relevant, then things might change.
And what do you think? Dia would talk about it? And
Yeah,
spill the beans?
I don't know. I hope
I don't know.
I hope Dia doesn't tell, because yeah, Vito might feel a little bad later on about lying.
She's super unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen with her.
Yes. How about David's recording?
Oh yeah.
I'll let you guys go first because I've already kind of reacted to it.
I cry. It's oh man. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It was so sweet, and
Yeah.
I'm still in denial. He's okay. We're gonna help him.
Even
32%.
even though Harsha
32%.
was
Hey, it's not. It's still pretty good. 32% is still pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1 out of 3. Yeah, that's not.
I mean,
It's not 1 out of 4. 1 out of 3 is not 1 out of 4. So
Yeah.
yeah.
there is no way I could increase the chances. Like, and there is no action any of the characters could take.
No, there was no way that you could increase the chances. There was a way that Nathan could have increased the chances, but he didn't. So
Oh yeah.
I know.
32%.
But another question I have is, I mean, if he isn't alive for some reason,
Yeah.
is it going to come up at any point, or he's just going to vanish from the story? I don't
mean,
know. Okay.
Up to us, really.
we know that.
Well, to answer your question, there normally is, for things like that, there will be some sort of resolution.
Okay.
But that resolution may not necessarily happen by the end of the story.
Yeah.
There was
That might be it.
there was something about a individual's whereabouts at the end of Dragon Age Season 2 that was never completely given closure to, but that ended up getting closure in the Pokemon Spectrum campaign.
Oh yeah.
that person's like what happened to that person ended up being revealed in Pokemon Spectrum instead. So
Also, I think I heard Diana earlier, right? Someone named Diana with the Drell, or did I misheard?
the Asari was named Deanna or something. The Asari was.
That was fairly close too.
Or Dina or Dinah or Dinah or something. I think they call her Dinah.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean it's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny, fairly close, and she's traveling with 2 Drells. You know.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I was thinking for a second, because I think Red Diana is the one they dropped in another universe, right? Or
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not Diana. It's not that character. This one's an Asari.
yeah, because I was wondering, because at first I was like, did I misheard? Did I mishear?
No, it's not that character. Anything else before we close?
The question I wanted to ask was
Yes.
at some point when Gimmick was talking with Pip, and Gimmick told Pip that Nathan hit Gimmick, Pip mentioned it or said something about like it was that was abuse or something like that.
Yep.
And that made me think about, I mean, out of character because Gimmick doesn't know about it, but that Nathan was also the victim of abuse.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh well.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, though, it's not abuse; it's assault. If you took that to a court, it wouldn't be put down as domestic abuse. It would be aggravated assault. So it's not the same thing.
Well,
Just that-
tell
just-
that
that's
to
what-
the one that was hit.
Oh yeah, Gordon said, "Oh, Nathan hit me," and Nathan and Gimmick don't have a trusting, loving relationship. It's not a domestic.
I know. The thing
So-
is that I was like, oh, it's interesting that we find the opportunity to point out things of each other's backstories at some points.
Without a character.
Well,
without
Nathan
a
has
character
hidden the fact that he's pretty violent when it comes down to it. Like Nathan has always had a temper. So
Oh,
I don't know why you're surprised that you pushed him too far and he lashed out. Like that's natural.
well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know because if it's hard. It's something like I don't know. Maybe if you get in the shoes of like how was it called, Freya?
Freya.
Maybe I mean, what was the reason or what was the thing pushing her to do it? And maybe if you get in her place, it's understandable and you can justify it. But from the place of the one that being hit by the other party, it's not justifiable.
I'm just saying it's not the right term. I'm not justifying his actions. He
Oh, no,
shouldn't.
yeah, I know.
So,
But I can wait for Pip's and Nathan's interaction later on.
I think it'll be good.
I'm angry at you, young man.
I don't know why she reminded me so much of like a really annoyed nanny.